you'll hear stories which would actually blow you away in terms of the brazenness of it, in terms of the lack of procedure around testing. To use VADA as an example, if you, I believe VADA were deployed for the Joshua White fight for 5 weeks in advance of the fight. Now, 5 weeks is no time to be testing athletes because you can finish a cycle long before that. It'll be flushed out of your system long before that. And I believe that's happening probably, I mean, definitely far more than we realize, right? But it costs about €30,000 to use VADA testing for a fight. Now, €30,000 is more than 99.9% of boxers will be paid for actually boxing. €30,000 is more than the vast majority of promoters around the world will spend on a show. So it's not feasible for anti-doping testing to be taking place at anything really under the very, very highest level of boxing. And then when it takes place at the highest level, it's for 5 weeks in this case. Or it may be that, as I heard about a world title fight in Belgium a few years ago, the testers simply didn't show up. And this was for a WBC world title where testing is mandatory under the WBC. But the testers just didn't show up for whatever reason, and there were some accusations against a boxer in question in that equation. And then you look at the procedure. So you have UCAD, who obviously run anti-doping in the UK. Why was it a year after the Kell Brook fight that we found out that Amir Khan had tested positive? Like, I don't truly know the answer to that, and it seems as though it can take an awfully long time, as you say, for things like B samples to be tested, or at least for the results to reach the public domain. And ultimately, like, there are too many chefs in the kitchen that can sort of obstruct some of this information from coming out, or at least can control when it comes out or when it reaches the various parties involved in a fight. And it all really comes down to the fact that, and it's the same old problem that you and I have discussed as it pertains to boxing many times, Joe, there's no real governing body overseeing this. There are 4 sanctioning bodies. Each of them are as big a joke as the other. There's no real safeguard. There's no authority. The promoters, the major promoters, are bigger than the sanctioning bodies. They're bigger than national governing bodies. There's nobody to hold them to account for staging fights involving boxers that are probably doping, for a lack of testing procedure. And as I typically say when we chat about boxing, the sport would break your heart.